For everything in the world, there's always an opposite. For every idea, there's its denial. For every form of faith, there's skepticism. And this applies to religion too. Some believe, some don't. According to data from the Pew Research Center, in 2020, 16% of the global population identified as non-religious. This suggests that, for billions of people, religion remains an essential idea. And in a world still deeply in need of faith, Spinoza's view might seem like a utopia, or worse, the rant of a loner at war with the sacred. But it's none of that. After all, Spinoza isn't a lone voice. Over a century later, Schopenhauer would reach a similar conclusion. Religion is the metaphysics of the people. A refined way of saying that, when reality becomes too complex or threatening, it feels natural to turn to a simpler, more comforting narrative, something that instantly makes sense of the chaos. Ludwig Feuerbach explained that God is nothing more than the essence of humanity projected outside of itself. In other words, what humans can't accept about themselves, their desires, fears, longing for justice or love, they externalize and turn into a divine figure. God, according to Feuerbach, is the sum of ideal human qualities, made absolute and then worshipped. Man created God in his own image, and then forgot he was the one who did it. Karl Marx took it even further. Religion, he said, is the opium of the people. It soothes the pain, but blocks the reaction. A medicine that numbs, not heals. A perfect mechanism to keep things exactly as they are. Then there's Nietzsche, who cuts straight through. God is dead, and we are the ones who killed him. Faith, for him, is an escape from life, a break. Christianity, he argued, built a form of soul slavery disguised as salvation, and Freud adds yet another layer. For him, God is the idealized father figure, the authority that comforts and punishes, a psychological construct to help bear the anxiety of existence. A collective neurosis, he said, a childlike need for protection, dressed up as absolute truth. Then there are those who, in more recent times, have said it outright, without filters. Richard Dawkins, for example, states that religion is a structured superstition, inherited and culturally transmitted, harmful, because it blocks freedom of thought and hinders knowledge. In the end, they all circle around the same core idea. Religion didn't come from God, it came from man. And historically, its main function has always been to contain, regulate, and control. Faith, more than a conscious choice, is often just an automatic response to a deeper need, the need to feel protected in a world that makes no sense. And it's exactly this mechanism that Spinoza dissects. His view is uncomfortable, maybe because it's plausible, disturbing, maybe because it's clear. And like any idea that touches the roots of power, it was silenced for centuries. What follows isn't some fringe theory. It's a ruthless interpretation of how the world works. According to Spinoza, God was invented to control people. He's not a supernatural being watching over the world. He's not an invisible presence who listens, judges, and punishes. That's an idea, a construct, a strategy. God was conceived to instill fear, to create dependence, and to maintain social order through psychological submission. The real question Spinoza wants to answer is, who actually wrote the Bible, and why? His answer is sharp. It wasn't God speaking, it was men. With motives, political, cultural, strategic. The Bible isn't a divine manual. To him, it was a tool of propaganda. It was used to create obedience, to fuel fear, to justify war, to reinforce power. According to Spinoza, Moses couldn't have written the Pentateuch. It includes the story of his own death, later events, and places that didn't exist in his time. The text, he says, is full of edits, revisions, and later additions. It's a political work, and like any political work, it serves those in power. Divine laws become civil laws. Breaking them isn't just a moral failure, it's a threat to the established order. And whoever violates the rules isn't just punished. They're cursed, exiled, and turned into an enemy of God. Religion, in the system Spinoza deconstructs, wasn't made to elevate the soul. It was designed to discipline people. And to do that, it needs fear. Because when humans don't understand something, they invent it. And that's exactly what they did. A famine, divine punishment. A lightning strike, a heavenly warning. An illness, a curse. This is where the myth of God as we know it takes shape, in the dark corners of ignorance. An all-powerful being who sees everything, decides everything, demands everything. Spinoza says it clearly. Men have taken to calling divine whatever they do not understand the cause of. That's where the real power of religion hides, in making sacred what cannot be explained, so it won't be questioned. But the problem isn't believing in something. The problem is being manipulated. Spinoza breaks down the structure of religious dominance as a perfectly designed system. It rests on 3 pillars: ignorance, superstition, and fear. Those who don't know, believe. Those who believe, obey. And those who obey become tools of control. Take the figure of the prophet, for example. Spinoza reinterprets it from a human perspective, not a divine messenger, but a person with a vivid imagination and a strong will. The prophet doesn't speak with God. He speaks as if he speaks for God, and that's enough. Because power doesn't need truth. It just needs the appearance of truth. Even miracles fit into this logic. They are stories crafted to reinforce authority. Inexplicable events, used to prove that someone has access to higher forces. But for Spinoza, miracles don't exist. They are apparent violations of natural laws, born from our ignorance of causes. Nothing more. Believing in miracles means accepting that reality can be suspended by whoever holds the power to tell the story. And the next step is the most dangerous one: merging civil law with divine law. In doing so, disobedience becomes heresy. Political or religious opposition becomes blasphemy. It's the dream of every tyrant, making people believe that questioning him means questioning God. Spinoza exposes this toxic fusion of religion and government. He calls it the theological political power, and describes it exactly as it is: a system of emotional surveillance, a way to turn fear into a moral obligation. Spinoza isn't against religion itself. He's against how it's used to control people. He believes in a rational, impersonal spirituality rooted in understanding. God is not someone watching from above. God is the reality itself, unfolding. Freedom, he says, doesn't mean doing whatever you want. It means understanding what you are. And once that's clear, there's no need for invisible masters, no need to be saved, only the need to know. And those who know don't let themselves be controlled.